Hi everybody, thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. As always, the site's kept free of charge by you coming back and visiting the site regularly, by using the adverts that you see around the screen here, and by telling your friends about us as well, so thank you for doing that. The latest JMA forecast is in. Yep, the Japanese Meteorological Agency issues its month ahead forecast every week, and it makes interesting reading, as does Uncle Bob. What am I talking about here? Captain Bob's forecast as well. That's because, you know, my children call him Uncle Bob. That's what they know him as. But Captain Bob's forecasts as well. He picks up on the same things, but he's hinting at a wobble middle of the month, with temperatures perhaps picking up a little bit, but then falling away again at the end of the month, although not quite as chilly as it will be during the coming week. So it's interesting times, certainly forecasting wise. Let me just show you the JMA then. This is the Japanese Meteorological Agency forecast. This is the forecast through until next Friday, so that's the 14th, isn't it? Yeah, it's the 14th of December, and what this is showing is still blocked outlook and higher than normal heights up towards the north of the country. That link still going through into the Pacific as well, so we've still got high pressure centred up here towards the north. We got that deep trough down over central parts of Europe as well, so we got low pressure down here, we got high pressure up here, and the result is that we get a cold east to northeasterly flow through the coming week. Now, on to the forecast for the period from the 15th through to the, when will it take us through to? That one takes us through to the 21st. So this is going through to the 21st of the month, and notice that we've got, there's the British Isles underneath here, look. There's the ridge, okay? Here's the ridge, look, up towards the northwest. It shifted position somewhat, and we've got a really strong element of the jet just trying to get itself through the Mediterranean too. So we've got the jet strong across the Atlantic, okay, and it's strong through the Mediterranean, and then it weakens as it builds into the ridge up here towards the north of the UK. So I think what we're going to see here is high pressure centred up towards the north. We're going to have low pressure centred down here into Europe, and still looking at this kind of east to northeasterly flow, which is interesting because the GFS and other models try to lose this flow. The GFS and the ECMWF try to lose this flow, but the Japanese Meteorological Agency want to keep it in, and that would keep things pretty cool. And then towards the end of the month, well, this is the period then that takes us through from the 22nd through to around about the 5th of January, and it's in here, look, that we still have lower than normal heights, but what we have is strong jet across the central parts of the Atlantic, western parts of the Atlantic. We've got a trough here into Europe. That looks more transitionary, but we've still got this block across the pole, across the equator as well. Now the big question is, how cool would this situation become? Okay, I think it probably would become fairly cool but more mobile, so we go back into more of a westerly going through Christmas, which brings us essentially a green Christmas. No worries particularly with snow, apart from over perhaps high ground of Scotland, high ground of northern England, and the high ground of Ireland as well, and also North Wales. But so daytime temperature sort of 4s and 5s, nighttime temperatures around sort of freezing, but bands of rain moving through at times, briefly turning to sleet, which is kind of what we've had during the last week, and that looks to be a reasonable attempt at a forecast to me. Compare that to the CFS. This is the CFS from today, and notice how the CFS is dipping away temperatures, look, until around the kind of, it's coming into, where are we there? We're kind of into the 20th sort of period. Let me just get rid of that. It's into the sort of 20th, 22nd, 23rd period in here, look. And then what it does is it lifts temperatures up and then kind of tries to bring them down again into the early part of the new year, and then picks them up again as we get into the beginning of January. But what's interesting here is that it's picking up on this idea of a cold spell, look, just continuing right the way through the middle part of December, getting into the beginning part of Christmas. Now what I want you to do here is just compare another couple of charts, okay? This is how the ECMWF sees the temperature profile in the next 10 days, and notice how it's going to make it cold, look, it's going to bring it cold into kind of the period, where are we there? We're getting into sort of Monday, Tuesday next week, and then it rapidly increases temperatures, look, as we head out beyond the sort of 15th, 16th time. So that's a week on Sunday. Now have a look at how the GFS ensemble handles it, and the GFS ensemble, look, you'll notice, yes, does bring some briefly milder conditions in during the late part of this weekend, but then it kind of takes it colder into next week, which is very similar to the ECMWF, that plunge away in temperatures, and then it picks it up, but it only picks temperatures up very slightly, look, so it's not really picking them up much. It's taking daytime temperatures to sort of 4 degrees at the most, and it holds it at that, look, right the way through, and we're now getting pretty close to the Christmas period. So it's quite interesting to see how that profile from the GFS matches the CFS in here, look, that sort of flat temperature period after this milder temperature period. Look, that's quite interesting, isn't it, to notice how both are similar. Look, there's the milder period, and then there is that cooler temperature period all the way through. Now, this kind of agrees with where Captain Bob's going with this, because what he's saying is that he thinks that the middle of the month sees a wobble from about the 17th to the 22nd, and it's then that we could see milder air try and intrude, if at all, and you can kind of pick that out in there. But then what he's saying is that he thinks that after that we go cool again as we head into the Christmas period, kind of in here, although not as cool as it will be next week, which is this period is in here. And that sort of fits, doesn't it? That kind of makes sense, that that's where this forecast could go. So I think we're going to stick with that, the idea of it becoming cooler next week, then probably going into a little bit of a wobble from the 17th to the 22nd, not really knowing which way it's going to go, but then perhaps going a little cooler as we get into the Christmas period, but probably no risk of real cold or snow through the Christmas period. It's certainly going to be an interesting watch as this thing develops. So how do we look then for the next few days? Well, low pressure centred off the coasts of East Anglia today, look, and it's that's pulling away. It's taking some rain off East Anglia, a few showers out towards the west as well just at the moment. I think what we're going to find overnight tonight is that low pulls away, still some showers affecting eastern coasts, but for many it's a widespread hard frost. I think you've got to be looking at temperatures tonight down to -5 degrees Celsius, particularly across northern parts of England, especially where there's snow cover across Scotland. And then we find this cloud and rain increasing from the west during Saturday morning, brings rain through Scotland and northern parts of Ireland. I think could be preceded by some sleet or even some snow. Down to the south there, you notice it stays dry for most of the day with some good spells of sunshine, but clouding up and becoming cold as well, I think, in the afternoon as that cloud gets in. But I think these southern coasts of England probably staying generally fair through the day. And then the rain gradually slips its way southeastwards during the course of Saturday evening, overnight to Sunday. No worries with temperatures overnight to Sunday. May just get down to 1 or 2 degrees, but generally quite cloudy and drizzly away from southern coasts. And then for Sunday, well, low pressure is close again to the northeast of Scotland. I think colder air slipping into Scotland behind a front which is going to be lying through here. This is a cold front that's going to be lying through here, and it's going to be moving its way southwards during the day. Excuse me. So that feature then moves south, it introduces colder air behind, and I think for Monday that then sets us up with quite a chilly day. But notice, you see this area of high pressure that's building out towards the west through Monday. So some showers down the eastern coast on Monday, but I think heading into Tuesday we've got a severe overnight frost. -4s, -5s, could be down to -8s or 9s, where we've got some snow cover over Scotland and northern England. Then through Tuesday, some snow showers affecting eastern coast of the country, but for most it should be generally dry and fine with some sunny spells. And then the GFS ensemble, the GFS then wants to bring some rain, look, through Ireland into Wales and southwest England as we get into Thursday. Then what it wants to do is kind of hold it, look, out towards the west. Now, we do have a danger here, because if this situation does get going, so if we do see this situation persist, then what we... I'm sorry, I'm just having a look. I was just looking at the temperature there. It's just dropped quite sharply in a shower here. Anyway, sorry. Yeah, what we're going to see is that if we do have that feature out towards the west and it can't get in, so it can't make this progress eastwards, what could happen here is that we could find an area of snow just on its leading edge. Now, where that would be, I'm not sure. Perhaps Northern Ireland, North West England, the Midlands, somewhere within that zone could see some snow on its leading edge as the milder air and rain try to get in. And then you can see how, look, this battle takes place with the GFS, and this is the position for Friday evening. Look, we've still got all of this area here. All of this area here is in cold air. This here, this rain that's down here, if that got in, that is going to be falling as snow on its leading edge. So that would bring heavy snow through Ireland, southern Wales, southwest England. Now, we're a long way away. You don't take these timings literally, and you don't take the positions literally either. What we could say is that back end of next week could be turning wintry, because it will be very cold. The ground will have come cold across most of the country, and if we get this Atlantic air trying to get in, then it could well turn things quite wintry for a time. Now, you notice how then into Saturday the GFS wants to make the southwesterly winds break through, wants to bring in much milder conditions, look up from the southwest, but this is classic GFS. It always wants to break things down into the southwest too quickly. I think what could happen, if anything at all, if it is like this, is that the pattern that we find is that this low tries to get in, can't quite get in northwards, and then this low eventually sits down into France, and much of the country stays in this more easterly flow, although with an incursion of southeasterly winds it could be that the snow turns to rain. Although I think we still need to watch for a risk of lying snow. It's mainly in this area by the end of the week, and then we go into this kind of wobbly period as we get into the period of the 15th, 16th, this semi sort of breakdown, and then 17th to the 22nd, as I told you before, Captain Bob thinks there's a wobble there. We can see it on the models as well, before we go cooler again into the Christmas period, although probably not snow, probably going into a green Christmas. Wow, loads going on, isn't there? Absolutely loads going on. So thanks again for watching weatherweb.net. I hope that's been useful for you. Don't forget, we kept free of charge by the adverts around the screen here, and by you telling your friends. You can follow us on Twitter at Weather School, or do a search on Facebook for Weather School as well. So thanks again for watching, and keep the sun shining. Bye for now.